Have you ever walked through a forest and felt that sense of peace and connection? That feeling of raw, natural beauty? Today, we're going to capture a piece of that feeling and bring it into our own homes and gardens. We'll be transforming a simple, humble wood log into a stunning, living piece of art, a rustic DIY log planter. This project is more than just woodworking. It's about embracing imperfection and celebrating the beauty that nature provides. It's a wonderfully sustainable way to upcycle a piece of wood that might otherwise be forgotten, turning it into a beautiful home for your favorite plants. It's a project that requires a little bit of patience and effort, but the result is something truly unique and personal, a statement piece that you just can't buy in a store. So, if you're ready to get your hands a little dirty and create something special, stick around. Let's begin the journey. The very first and arguably most important step is to find your log. This is the heart and soul of your project, so it's worth taking a moment to find the right one. You might be lucky enough to have a fallen branch in your own backyard after a storm. Alternatively, you could check with local tree trimming services, who are often happy to give away sections of logs. Firewood suppliers are another great source. When you're choosing, think about the character of the wood. Are you drawn to the smooth, pale bark of a birch or aspen tree? Or do you prefer the rugged, deep textures of an oak or a pine log? Consider the size as well. For this demonstration, I'm using a piece of pine that's about 2 feet long and has a diameter of around 10 inches. This gives me enough mass to create a substantial planting cavity without being too difficult to handle. Look for a piece that's relatively solid. A little bit of weathering is fantastic for character, but you want to avoid wood that is soft, punky, or actively rotting all the way through, as it won't be structurally sound for very long. Take your time. Find a piece that speaks to you and bring it back to your workspace. With our perfect log selected, it's time to gather our tools. The complexity of your tool set will depend on the method you choose for hollowing out the log, which we'll discuss in a moment. For now, the basics you'll need are some safety gear. Always start with safety glasses and sturdy gloves. You'll need a saw to ensure you have clean, flat ends. A simple hand saw will work perfectly fine with a bit of elbow grease, or a chainsaw if you are experienced and comfortable with one. Next, you will need something to hollow out the log. This could be a combination of a drill with a large bit, like a spade bit or a Forstner bit, along with a good hammer and chisel. Finally, for the finishing touches, you'll want some sandpaper of various grits and, optionally, a wood sealant to protect your planter from the elements. Our first action is to prepare the log itself. We want to create a stable base so our planter doesn't roll away. Examine your log and find its most natural resting position. You may need to use your saw to shave off a thin, flat slice from the bottom to create a stable foundation. Once it's stable, give the entire log a good cleaning with a stiff wire brush. The goal here is to remove any loose dirt, moss, or flaky bark that might fall off later or harbor pests. Now we arrive at the most transformative part of the process, hollowing out the log to create the space for our plants. I'm going to show you my preferred method using hand tools, which I find to be incredibly meditative and satisfying. First, take a pencil and mark out the rectangular or oval shape of the cavity you want to create on the top surface of the log. Be sure to leave a thick, sturdy wall all the way around. I'd recommend at least 1.5 inches to 2 inches for structural integrity. Next, take your drill and a large spade bit. We're going to use this to make the chisel's job much easier. Drill a series of holes, side by side, all the way around the inside perimeter of your marked line. Then, drill several more holes throughout the center of the area you want to remove. Go as deep as you comfortably can with your drill bit. This process essentially perforates the wood, breaking up the wood fibers and giving you starting points for your chisel. Now, grab your chisel and mallet. Place the chisel on the edge of one of your drilled holes and pointing it toward the center of the log. Give it a few firm taps with the mallet. You'll see chunks will begin to break loose. Work your way around the perimeter first, defining the walls of your planter. Then you can start working on the middle, chiseling and pry out the pieces of wood between the holes you drilled. This step requires patience. Don't try to remove too much wood at once. Let the tools do the work. There's something incredibly grounding about this process, slowly revealing the planter within the log. Keep going until you have a cavity that's about 4 to 6 inches deep, which will be plenty of room for the roots of most common plants. Before we get carried away with the excitement of planting, there's a critical step we cannot skip: drainage. Without proper drainage, water will sit in the bottom of your planter and your plant's roots will rot. It's the #1 killer of container plants. To prevent this, flip your log over. Using your drill and a medium-sized drill bit, something around a 1/2 inch will do. Drill several holes straight through the bottom of the log within the area of the cavity. 3 to 5 holes should be sufficient for a planter of this size. Now, for the finishing touches. The inside of the cavity can be rough, and that's perfectly fine. However, I like to take some sandpaper and smooth out the top edges or lip of the planter. This gives it a more finished look and feels nice to the touch. If you plan to keep your planter outdoors and want it to last for many years, this is a time to apply a protective sealant. An outdoor-rated polyurethane or a clear deck sealer will work well to protect the wood from moisture and UV rays. Apply it according to manufacturer's directions and let it cure completely. If you prefer a completely natural look, especially for an indoor planter, you can leave the wood completely raw and let it age gracefully over time. This is the moment we've been waiting for. It's time to plant. I find that succulents and sedums are a fantastic choice for these planters, as they are drought tolerant and their interesting shapes contrast beautifully with the rustic wood. However, you could easily create a miniature herb garden or plant some colorful annuals like impatiens or petunias for a burst of color. First, I'm going to add a thin layer of small gravel to the very bottom of the cavity. This is an optional step, but it further enhances drainage. Now, fill the planter about 2/3 of the way with a good quality potting mix suitable for your chosen plants. Let's talk about design. A great rule of thumb for container gardening is thriller, filler, and spiller. Your thriller is a taller, eye-catching plant that provides a focal point. Your filler plants are more mounded and fill in the space. And your spiller is a trailing plant that will cascade over the edge of the log. Gently remove your plants from their nursery pots and loosen the roots a bit. Arrange them in a log according to your design, making sure they have a little room to grow. Once you're happy with the arrangement, backfill with more potting soil, gently firming it in around the plants to remove any air pockets. Give your newly planted log a thorough watering, allowing the excess to drain out from the holes we drilled. And just look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. And there you have it. We've taken a simple, overlooked piece of nature and, with our own 2 hands, transformed it into a living, breathing work of art. This project is a beautiful reminder that we can create stunning decor for our homes without having to buy something new. It's a piece that tells a story, the story of the tree it came from, and now, the story of the care and creativity you put into it. I truly hope you've been inspired to go out and make one for yourself. It's a project that will bring you joy every time you see it. We would absolutely love to see what you create. So if you make your own log planter, please share a picture on social media and tag us. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this project, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more nature-inspired DIY projects. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Until next time, happy creating.